Hi, everyone. Today on A Girl, Some Guys in the Movie, myself, Janet from Another Planet, Bear, the Gen X GM, and Six Nation 31 Kings, also known as Joshua. We are going to be discussing the film from 19.
What up, world champion?
We're discussing the 1984 film, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai in the Eighth Dimension.
Across the eighth dimension.
Across the Eighth Dimension. My foul. And this movie was my first. This was my first full viewing of it, and I've got to say that this is a very interesting film, absurdist to the nth degree. I recommend.
Someone's got a feedback loop of the audio going on, by the way, from YouTube.
Janet,
I
don't think I have it on.
this is my first full
I'm trying to see.
and I've got to say that.
Hang on.
Oh,
I'm here.
I found it. Okay, sorry, it's me.
That's okay.
We're on brand.
I just downloaded Brave, and now I have both of my browsers are open, and I didn't open it that way.
I tell you, use Edge only whenever you're like, hey, you have your virus machine as your last resort.
Well, I have to leave Brave open. I'm going to shut the other one because I have it already set up.
So, okay.
Sorry. So I just closed everything on that.
Bear, you recommended this movie to me and Janet.
Yes.
Janet, is this your first viewing of it?
My first viewing of this movie.
No. Janet, is this
sorry.
first viewing?
I've never seen it before.
Okay. And Josh, you've seen this movie a couple times, right?
It was a staple on TV, VHS. I was doing something else in '84, so I didn't get to see it in the theater, which I'm kind of bummed out.
Me too.
But yeah, this is an excellent movie.
Yeah. I was 14. We used to have this thing called the movie channel or something here in Canada or something. I can't remember what it was called.
It was part of Showtime, right?
Sorry?
TMC was part of Showtime, if I remember right.
No, this was the Canadian thing. It was like the Movie Network, or they were called. It was our first pay-per-view channel in Canada, and they ran movies all day. And they had a free view weekend one day, one winter. It was in winter of '84 or early '80. No, it was late '84. No, early '85. That was it. It was in January. So I just, I'm like watching movies, and this Buckaroo Banzai thing comes on. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this and see what this is about. And I fell in love. I fucking fell in love with this movie. Like I adore. It's my number one favorite movie of all time. If you ask me to make a list of 10, 5, 100, Buckaroo Banzai will always be number one. I just adore this movie.
Now, you've stated before, the writer of this is tied to my favorite film of all time, Big Trouble in Little
Yes, sir. And hang on, it's W.D. Richter, or is it Rauch? I think it's Richter.
I think it's Rauch. Romae Rauch was the writer of this film.
Yeah, Rauch was the original creator of this. Yeah, no, Richter. Richter was Rauch's roommate, and they worked together on this over the years. And then Richter went on to do the adaptation of the screenplay for Big Trouble in Little China. Had they gotten the money to do, and they'd written that movie before it was shot, obviously. Had they gotten the movie to do Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League, where he takes on Hanoi Zhan, the guy who killed his mother and father and killed Peggy Pretty, his wife, there was going to be a cameo by Blue Blaze Irregular, whatever his number is, Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express. And Kurt Russell apparently was all aces to do it. He was like, absolutely, I love playing Jack Burton.
That would have been epic.
Would have been so good. Oh my God, would that have been cool. Guys, if you want to join us over from my channel, I'm going to put the link for Bruce's channel for the chat. Screw it, we'll just talk. It's okay. Stay where you are. Give me some views.
It's fair. And we got a lot of people in the chat today, and I thank everybody for showing up today.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry. King Eric, the greatest of all.
Citation needed.
Great.
And Janet, hello. And I think it was
right out of the gate, I'm going to say this before you guys get too deep into this one, because I can talk about this movie until the end of time. If you do not like Gonzo, if you do not like weird comedy, and if you do not have an absurdist sense of humor, this movie will not be for you. You will watch it and think you're watching the stupidest thing you ever saw, and that's okay. Might not be to your taste. Everything is subjective, clearly. But if you like stuff that has like weird, just throwaway lines and throwaway moments and all that kind of crazy shit, this movie is eminently rewatchable.
Yeah.
You can rewatch it over and over and still. This is like what, my 80th time watching the movie today with you guys. Normally I skip the movie. If I've seen it, I just show up for the talk after. But this one, I'm like, absolutely, I'm watching this again because I get to watch Buckaroo Banzai. What are you talking about? And today, I caught shit that I hadn't heard before. I was like, oh my God, what was that line? You know what I mean? Like, it was amazing. I love this movie. Anyway, go ahead. I'll shut up and let everybody else talk.
Well, getting to sit and watch it without, actually looking for something, just trying to enjoy it and absorb the movie for what it is, you'll see a lot more things than trying to search for something, because I used to watch movies just to find bloopers or like mistakes, someone holding a cup or doing something not supposed to. And you miss so much when you're sitting there trying to find something. So getting to sit, that's why I really don't like to look into the movie or anything like that. All I did was look up what Ellen Barkin was wearing, try to come up with something, but I didn't want to know anything about the movie. I wanted to be able to see it fresh. And I'm glad I did that because I thought it was really entertaining. And I absolutely I just love so many of the characters. The acting was just phenomenal. And you had really good actors. I was really surprised that they were able to get that many actors, name actors, to be in one movie for fun. It reminded me a little bit of that movie that Bruce got me to watch about the alien herpes. What was that one?
Ice Pirates.
Ice Pirates.
Yeah, Ice Pirates. It was that type of fun comic point of view of things, like slapstick humor, all through the whole thing, basically, with a touch of adventure, romance, and had all the little things in it like that. But that's what it reminded me a lot of, because I hadn't seen that one either until Bruce got me to watch it. So yeah, I thought it was really, really good. It was very entertaining and a lot of fun, but man, I could tell they went through so much work for some of the sets and definitely for the costumes. People don't realize how hard it is to wear a latex mask, especially back in 1984. It stinks. I mean, they had all that spirit gum and the horrible stench.
I got that news for you.
It came with that rubber.
Having worn one in the last 20 years, it still stinks. It
has gotten a little better.
It's a bit lighter now. That's the only difference.
And it's lighter. It's not near as thick. But I'm telling you, they were sweating their balls wearing those things. So it was good.
By the way, I just have to say this, Bruce. My compliments to your colleague, Dr. Penny Priddy, and her costume today.
When I first saw Janet's costume, I'm like, I love you. Because I used to have the largest crush on Ellen Barkin, and it wasn't from this movie. It was from a film called Sea of Love with Pacino. And she just looks there's not a lot of good words that come out of my mouth when I think of Ellen Barkin and Sea of Love, and fucking Janet knocks out of the park.
Well, I asked him to put that other movie on that when we were talking, when I realized it was Ellen Barkin in this movie, I said, I want to watch Switch.
No,
he hasn't seen it. He hasn't seen it. So
we should do that. I love Switch. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's really good. And she is phenomenal in that movie. At playing a man, that's now a woman, that type of thing. It's funny. It's really, really good and very entertaining. So I want to put it on the list. But I do like her. She's a very good actress. She has a series now, I think, doesn't she? Where she plays the mother, and she has two sons, and they're like criminals. They're all like a criminal empire or something. I can't remember the name of it, but I heard it was really, really good.
Came out a couple years ago.
Or was it a couple years ago? Well, I don't see anything until it's out on the free stuff. Most stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, same
so
here.
it's new to me, but it's really good. The acting is good, and I like the actors in that show. But I can't remember the name of it.
King Eric, for what we thought of Life Force,
or
go back into the library, you'll see where we did Life Force. We talked about Life Force, so you can go back into Bruce's history or Janet's, and you'll find it there. Because this is the first time I think I'm simulcasting this.
Yeah, I had headlights for that one.
She really did.
Yes. Glorious. Glorious.
And I put an eye out. It was brutal.
Yeah, cutting glass.
Joyous.
But I was really, really impressed. I wasn't I don't know. I kind of, when I read what the synopsis of it was, I was like, oh, hope I like this movie.
Yeah.
Because it really is way, way out there, but it comes together really well. I
was
just wish
surprised
it
by
had
how-
left. I want to see it again, but I want that the pieces that were taken out that's in the director's cut that you said was on it. Because when I saw the trailer, and it had Jamie Lee Curtis in the black and white scene, I was like, that's Jamie Lee Curtis. She's in this too. I don't know how they were able to get so many top-notch actors in this movie.
That was
I mean, that was like 20.
It was 1984. Most of them hadn't blown up yet. Right?
Well,
but Jamie Lee Curtis was like the biggest one of the list. You know what I mean? So she's only in like an opening sequence.
she looked adorable as a mom too. I really liked it. I liked it. I was looking for it, the flashback, and it wasn't in it, so I had to look it up, and it was like, oh, they took it out. So that was good. I'll shut up for a minute and let one of you guys add some stuff if you want.
Go ahead, Josh. I'm a new guy here, so go ahead,
Okay.
Josh.
Buckaroo Banzai as a polymath in this movie. He's a neurosurgeon, rock star, freaking
Nuclear physicist.
a number of hats, and he's the typical pulp hero, kind of like in the vein of Indiana Jones or Doc Savage or what have you. And then he's got his Hong Kong Cavaliers, which are
I love the name.
his crime fighting buddies.
That cracked me up. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
What was it? The Blue Blazer Regulars,
Blue
or
Blazer
the
Regulars.
civilian arm
Mhm.
group. It's also the name of the fan club
Mhm.
that was popular in the 80s.
Yep.
Like this movie is so absurd and over the top, but it's great. Like, it works. If it was just the time, the era, the overall environment of Hollywood, but it didn't make it in the box office, but it became a cult classic.
You know who
And it's
predicted
one of
that,
those
right?
movies, like, if we try to make it today, I don't know if it would be possible. Like, do we have the talent to do absurdist things?
Mm-mm.
Break the mold of the Marvel MCU and
Yeah.
and other franchises that just beat the crap out of the IP. I don't know.
Gene Siskel predicted that this movie would hit cult
It's a little
status.
niche.
Yeah.
You- I just watched that about 4 hours ago, because usually whenever we watch an older movie from the 80s or 90s, I try to find the Siskel and Ebert or Ebert and Roper stuff, and because I like that thing. I don't know why. There's something that takes you back when you watch the old reviews of those movies, but watching that, Gene said that, and fuck, it does turn into one of the biggest cult movies of all time, because I've been to probably 30 gaming conventions in my life, maybe 25, somewhere around there. And you see people dressed up like this even today at game conventions. And usually those players, when you make just a statement, like they always talked in code. Now I've seen the movie, is one of my friends was like, he would always tell one of the cosplayers or guys dressed up like that, no matter where you go. And the other guy would answer, there you are. Like, I never got that. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
That scene, like, if that scene doesn't get you, this movie is not for you. That whole sequence in the bar when they're playing the song, the whole weirdness of him going, is that someone out there crying? We get her a mic and a spotlight. Like, what the fuck? The chick's crying and you want to put a spotlight on her? What the hell's wrong with you?
That was not right.
I wish they'd done more of, because it was hard to not understand about what had happened to him in the past, and that's why
the producer.
Even his band members kind of like went, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
So to me, that didn't make a little bit of sense, especially if it looked just like his wife. The one that was missing.
This is the thing, right? So the evil producer they were fighting made them cut out all the references to Hanoi Zan, which, by the way, in reference to your Doc Savage thing, Hanoi Zan is named for Hanoi Jan, which was the enemy of Doc Savage. But they made them cut all that stuff out, so you lose a lot in that as a result, which really sucks. But I mean, just the shit like when the gun goes off and like the whole band just starts fucking pulling out pieces and shit like
yeah, what the fuck was that?
It was like mafia. It was like
the naked drummer just like with the fucking Uzi. It's like,
yeah, it was like they were like outer space mafia. You know what? Because I had never seen it before, but I had seen that other show where it's like the Wild West of outer space. You know, remember that? What was the name of that? Yeah, Firefly. It reminded me a little bit of that too. I guess because I have all that to add to my point of view as I'm watching this movie, and it just pulled so much of that type of stuff. And I loved Firefly. I thought Firefly was just phenomenally done too, with great acting, everything about it. But this one, it was funny. It was in a comical, lighthearted. It almost made, I hate to say this, but it almost made me feel like I was like 12. I don't know if that makes any sense. I was giggling along. I was laughing, and then I was like, shit, I wish I could rewind that, a couple times, simply because I wanted to see it again, because it was like I missed something, and then it was just, I don't know, I can't explain it. It was really, really good. This is definitely something that I could see going to a party dressed as a character from it, like I do Rocky Horror.
I would much rather have fucking Buckaroo Banzai get-togethers and watch fests than Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm not sorry about that. I've tried watching the Rocky with people, and about 20 minutes in, I'm like, God, I'm gonna go.
Well, your name's not Janet, so everyone would say, "Hey, we're going to the midnight movie at the mall or whatever. You need to wear a slip or whatever. Let's go." And I was like, oh, I hate being Janet, so that's why I like being Magenta or Columbia, because I was Janet all the time. Everybody wanted me to be Janet.
So back to this. I showed at the time, my best friend, who was my roommate. He'd never seen it before. Of course, smoked a shit ton of pot. And we're watching the movie. This is the early 2000s on the DVD. And we get to the news conference scene when the reporter chick gives him the look at Buckaroo. And he's like, damn. I went, wait for it. And then you watch the progression of that scene. And it's like women constantly giving him even pretty this look. Just, what a man. Like, it's Buckaroo. What a man. It's like, that's the shit that makes the movie so good, is the little weird directions, throwaway lines. Race wars in New Jersey? What? Like, it's just all that kind of shit makes this movie.
You couldn't do that now. Oh, wait, maybe we will in 2 years from now if things keep going the way they are. But, from the last 15 or 16 years, it's slowly gotten to where you can't do any of this stuff anymore. You wouldn't be able to make this movie. It wouldn't be kosher.
The inside baseball joke of the movie that kills me, and I only learned later. When Jeff Goldblum first meets the rest of them, and he says to Perfect Tommy, I know you, you're Pecos. And he's like, no, Perfect Tommy's like, you're Pecos. No, Reno, Pecos is in Tibet. Well, Richter and Rauch wrote an entire book, which was the complete Buckaroo Banzai. It had all their old scripts in it. It had all the world building information. And Pecos was in Tibet, working with the Zen commandos that they were going to be doing some other mission with, but Pecos is a girl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is why it's so funny that he's like, I know you guys, you're Pecos. It's like, dude, but like that level of depth is so good and makes it such a good. Like, anyway, I'm sorry, I just fucking.
Because wasn't this a comic book?
Nope.
And it wasn't a comic book? Was it a TV series or any of that?
All original. Now there's a comic book series. They aren't particularly great, but they finally put out the Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League in 2022 or 2021 as a novel written by Rauch. But it was all original shit. This was scripts this guy had been working on since like 1974 or something, and no one would take him up on it. Then finally they took him up on it at Sherwood. Actually, MGM picked it up, and then they were fighting about it. And the producer that was with them left and went to Sherwood, and then bought the rights to the script from MGM and brought it over to Sherwood to shoot it. And then Sherwood went bankrupt.
Well, that was.
I wish I had that book.
If you think about it, that was a good thing to happen, because what do you think would have happened to this exact movie if it had been filmed with the other production company?
Well, there would have been a lot more producer, and maybe there wouldn't have been as much producer interference. Who knows? Like, that's the thing. This movie was so hamstrung by the producer that was in charge of it. He hated the movie. If you're watching the movie, you'll notice like the end sequence when Buckaroo is with her in the room there at the end of the film, or if you look at the band sequence where they're on stage, the lighting is very, very different. Right?
Mhm.
It's very Blade Runner because they hired the DOP from Blade Runner to do the film. And then halfway through shooting, the producers fired him and brought in another guy that made it more colorful and campy. So there's a real transitional change at various parts of the movie. But when you see the ones that are clearly done by the guy who did Blade Runner, you can see it, the slatted lighting, stuff like that. It looks so good.
Somebody asked what my favorite movie was.
I answered.
Oh, I didn't see that someone asked me, so I missed it. Sorry.
Yeah,
I can't answer you guys. I can't type to you guys on here.
On
It doesn't work.
this platform here, you have to pull up YouTube. This for the chat. You have to pull up YouTube to be able to input things, and you have to mute your YouTube. Otherwise, you got a double feedback loop. But
Yeah, I turned it off.
Restream. If I like Restream because I can type in something and it'll force it into YouTube chat, unless YouTube can censor it. StreamYard asked for permission on so many things that I just don't even like typing. I don't like having my keyboard around me when I do StreamYard. I'd rather beat puppies than use StreamYard. I can't stand StreamYard. I'm fucking not sorry. I hate StreamYard to death. Like,
Good night, everybody.
what a bunch of fucking woke
Yeah,
ass.
Ben the Bear the Giant GM and anyone associated with my channel do not approve of the message of beating puppies.
I can get Korean real fast. Anyway.
No, we don't approve of that message either.
I love you, Bear. So yeah, this movie here, Bear's Bear, he would not be quiet about it. I'm like, fine, we'll watch Buckaroo Banzai. Because there's like 3 pages of movies that I want to watch. And so I condensed that down to 1 page. And then Janet's like, oh, we got to do this. So now we're up to 2 pages again. There's like, oh, we have to watch Buckaroo Banzai. We have to watch Buckaroo Banzai. I'm like, okay.
But let me ask you the question. Hang on.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Fucking yes, it was.
There we are.
Because the thing is that the other night, me and Janet, after we did the stream on Friday night over at her channel, I wanted to test Plex to see if Garrett's Plex would work for me. Because sometimes Plex is just down. That's my only negative about Plex. Sometimes they don't do server maintenance like I'd like them to. So I turn it on and we're watching Jamie Lee Curtis at the start. And then the movie starts after that. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And Janet's no longer watching because she's got to go to sleep. Like, if you ever hang out with Janet, if she likes you, you're going to see her make it to 10 p.m. or 10:30 or 11. Because what she did, she took her pills in the late afternoon, evening because she likes you. And if not, then like at about 8 o'clock at night, like her face starts turning into this puffy like strawberry, and she's just suffering from allergies. She's not taking her pills. She's just resigned to the fact I'm going to go to bed soon.
Yeah.
I'm out. But
my nose starts running.
like Janet uses those old the ladylike ways of like, if she really likes you, she does something special for you. Like some ladies will bring along their little liquid for their lenses, the contact lenses. And if they don't like you, they're like, well, I got to go home. My lenses are screwing with me. If they don't like you, you just accept it. But that's really sweet of her. And
which relates to Buckaroo Banzai in the following
way it relates to Buckaroo Banzai. I watched this movie after Janet left. I watched it to about halfway point, and I'm like, wow, I'm really tired. And so we were watching this again today, and I'm like, man, this movie's really good. And I'm like, I'm waiting for a certain part to pop up. And I just kind of sat back like this, and Bruce's like, is Bruce asleep? I'm like, no, I'm not asleep.
Dude, you looked like you had passed out.
I can do that very well, but like for some odd reason, this stuff, the hearing doesn't turn off. I wish it did, because I hear things. So I get to hear everything in this apartment building. But no, this movie has some great miniature work in it. And there's 6 guys listed on one of the end cards through the credits. And I just, as a viewer, as a guy that loves minis, period, anytime I see good miniature work, I'm get more attentive on the film. And I really love what they did with the truck I love what they did with the ships.
Yeah, that was really good.
I'm still kind of confused about the design though for the jet car. You used my mechanic's mobile truck and slapped a military engine, a military grade jet engine on the back of it for the prop for that sequence.
Mhm.
And I want to go and ask the Roush and Richter. I want to go ask him so many questions just about that. There's like 6 questions that popped up in my mind. Why are we using an F-350? Like, there's so many better, more suitable vehicles for this.
Mhm.
What was in your mind? Why were you
So-
in this?
They hauled the engine on the back of that thing on the F-350, and they're like, "Hey, let's leave it there,
Yeah,
and then we'll throw the oscillating overthruster. Call it good."
And they even had a little tri thing that looks like the flux capacitor, but this movie came first.
Flux capacitor.
Mhm.
There's a commercial you've all seen where they have a truck pull out and a jet that's landing. Its front thing doesn't come down, so the jet's there, and they land the jet, and the truck brings. It's an old commercial. That is a piece of reused CG special effects footage that was originally done as a test for the Buckaroo Banzai series that Kevin Smith was going to be directing and running showrunner on that got canceled. And in the original footage, it's the space shuttle not able to land because the front strut won't come down, and it's the jet car that goes up in front of it so the shuttle can park her nose on the back of the jet
park
car.
on it.
Come on, man. The guy's a superhero. He's the world's first autistic functional superhero. Come on.
He is autistic. I swear to God, when I'm watching this film, I'm seeing my buddies on the spectrum in this movie.
Fully
Well,
functional.
I've always thought that about Jeff Goldblum, his characters, the way that scene, though, both of them doing that operation, to me was very authentic. To me, why I don't really know, but it just seemed realistic that you'd have 2 genius doctors working together to save somebody's life, and all know every technical thing when they're talking about it, and everybody else is standing around going, "What the hell are they doing?" I don't know. I just thought that was a really, really good scene. But I love that.
Don't tug on that. You never know what it's attached to.
Yeah, I know. It was just funny. It was entertaining, but it was funny, but it very realistic. And the fact that he's doing this surgery and then immediately goes and he drives this vehicle into a mountain. I just thought it was great. I just loved it. It was very intense. It was like you're going, there was hardly any downtime because it was always somebody doing something new. And then when they got to the aliens, they reminded me of the movie that we watched with the what was the name of it? The one where the guy played the video game and they came
Starfighter.
Remember the fish guy that was the British guy this guy. I loved him, and that's what their costumes reminded me of, even though the colors were different and stuff. I just loved it. I get goosebumps thinking about it again. I just thought it was so good. This is a perfect sci-fi cult movie. And I would look forward to doing every Halloween or something like that, have a special day and having a party and inviting my friends and say, "Here's your cards," and mail it to them. Say, "You have to be this character and show up in costume. We're gonna have a costume contest or whatever." I would make it a big shindig,
Well, I want to do Perfect Tommy the Vegas years.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. It was really, really fun. And you don't want to do Rocky Horror Picture Show at your house because it's messy. So do that at theater. But this one is something you could do at home and have a big bash, have fun, and play the movie in the background.
But you got to go get yourself a hydraulic press and put a watermelon in it.
Otherwise, yeah, that was hilarious when I looked it up to find out why they were doing that. And so I thought it was funny.
But just the way they do the line, though. Why is that watermelon there? I'll tell you later. Like, it's just, it's so
it was
absurd.
like
that made
going,
0 cents. But they put it in.
I thought it was funny.
And when you read about it, it's like, okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
One of our chatters has said, now I want to go watch this movie. Well, that's kind of the impetus behind why we have review and reaction channels. Mm-hmm. I don't know many others, but I'm going to throw this out right now, Mr. Almond, and you can go click this link right here at no cost to your wallet, but to your time.
He's in my channel. I'll give it to him over there. Actually, he's my friend. I'll just lend him my Blu-ray. Yeah,
Well,
Chris.
make sure you have
Tomorrow,
popcorn and a drink.
Chris. Hang on, Chris. Tomorrow, bring me back my Wolfhound Blu-ray, and I'll pass you my Buckaroo Banzai Blu-ray. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Wolfhound, return it to me. All right.
Okay. So
Grab a cup of coffee while you guys talk, because I'll just keep going.
no, you're fine. We brought you in here because I wanted an authentic fan of the movie, and that's exactly the role you so eloquently take care of for especially this episode of A Girl, a Guy, in a Movie. I appreciate that because I have just a scant amount of information about this film aside from what I've read on IMDb, various little bits of video that I've watched, the movie itself. This is absolutely one of those films that I think if you like the movie Life Force, if you really enjoyed Ice Pirates, Flash Gordon, this would fit into a day where you would watch the 81 version of Flash Gordon. I think this is a perfect follow-up actually to something like Flash Gordon, because this movie has better, more authentic, better special effects than Flash Gordon. But
it has that classic campiness that I love. See, that's one of the things that I really, really like when I want to see this type of movie. I want to see a lot of that crammed into one movie. What was it? Spaceballs?
Spaceballs.
That was like that. So there's a lot of these movies out there. It's just that, you got to pick and choose and make sure you pick the ones that are for you. But if you enjoyed Flash Gordon, Spaceballs, and some of these other ones, you would definitely going to enjoy this movie.
If you enjoyed Spaceballs,
this one's a little higher quality though. The quality of the sets, the costumes, the authentic feel of when you're in these certain areas during the movie, it was more authentic. I don't know if that makes any sense, even though it was campy and funny, but it had everything in it. It had action, it had romance, it had thrill, where you didn't know what was about to happen. It had a little bit of everything in it, and I just really liked it. Even the special effects were pretty good, because the laser and the when he was in the one car and he was bouncing around, and he was doing all that, and then he was finished when he made it through there, and he gets out and they're talking to him, and he's like, he's shocked, he realizes he's on that high adrenaline high, but he realizes he did it, that he went through a whole mountain, and he's looking at the vehicle, the smoke's coming out of where he was sitting and everything, and then he touches the windshield, it's like melted, I don't know if there was a membrane that he went through, or if it was because the heat was so intense that it melted the window, but he rubbed his finger and he had it dripping off. And then he looked underneath and you saw stuff dripping from it, but you saw that creature that he found that was stuck to the under part of his vehicle. So I don't know. I just thought there was like very, for someone like me that believes one day I could be in the Federation, go travel through space. As a little girl watching reruns of my dad, I just loved that. And I felt that way in some of these parts, the way that the details and stuff, and the way they interacted with the characters. I could feel that. I could feel like this could be possible. There could be another dimension. And for some reason, because he did that, it brought attention to the other aliens realize, oh no, now they're going to be able to do that, and they're going to be able to open the gateway. You see what I mean? That type of thing. So I don't know. I just thought it was pretty good, because I'm very sciencey, and I do believe in dimensions and, all that stuff. So to me, I just thought it was very entertaining and very fun.
I can't say if you enjoy Spaceballs, because I'm not of the perspective that I really enjoyed Spaceballs last time I viewed it, and I've seen that movie like 7 times. I want to say I liked it, but now, no. This movie here, I could see where I could be 70, 80 years old and still viewing it, still like, look at this, let's go, fucking sells this movie. And That's one thing we haven't discussed yet. Lithgow,
Yeah,
in my opinion, is
love him.
he's always been a treasure.
Hmm.
If you ever watch the Twilight Zone film with John Landis as one of the directors, there's a sequence with John Lithgow pulling the best Shatner I've ever seen that wasn't Shatnerized, but
Yeah.
he sells it. He does a really good job. And then he was in Third Rock and Harry and the Hendersons. Great actor. But this movie is so fucking good with Lithgow. You must see it. Go ahead, Bear.
So two things. One, in the conference room, when the Secretary of Defense says, "But you didn't come here to hear me talk," and perfect time he goes, "You got that?" Or no, they didn't. And he unplugs the mic. Improv. Wasn't in the script. They just did that on set. Like, that's fucking hilarious. That shows you how much everybody was into it. Two, Janet mentioned Star Trek, and then you mentioned Kirk. The warp core of the Enterprise D was built by Yo-Yo Dyne Propulsion, according to their official plaque. And the USS Excelsior's dedication plaque, where on the Enterprise it says, "To boldly go where no man has gone before," the Excelsior says, "No matter where you go, there you are."
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
I thought it was great. Yeah, there was lots of connections. That's what I said through the whole movie. I kept saying, "God, that reminds me of this show," or "This reminds me of that." So even though this was made way, way before any of these other movies and or TV shows, so that's
It shows you the influence, right? How many people in Hollywood that were involved in later sci-fi stuff are fans of this film?
You could tell they were, because they put parts of it in their own shows.
This
And
movie.
that's what I connected with a lot. Sorry, I'll set up.
You're good. You're good.
No, Janet, please go ahead.
Okay, well, the other thing that I thought was really funny, and I felt bad laughing about it, but I couldn't help it, was the whole president scene.
Oh my God.
With him laying in the hospital bed with his
Traction.
face down, pressed down like he was in a pressure keeper or something. I just thought that was hilarious. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding. I was just laughing. I thought the whole thing was just hilarious. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I can't even imagine it really happening in real life. But I know it has to. Something like that would happen to someone, because you're still president if your back hurts. You know what I mean?
And then it's like
I thought it was hilarious.
And then the head of his whatever the guy's called, the guy that's in charge of the White House staff, and his assistant is Yakov Smirnov with a Russian accent in 1984.
I know.
They might have nuclear war with the Russians. It's so funny.
Yeah, I saw Smirnoff on the credits. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was Yakov Smirnov.
Oh.
His accent very strong.
Yeah, I bumped into him at a sit-go in Branson, Missouri, which I found out later he was performing in Branson, Missouri. Are you familiar with Branson, Missouri, Bear?
Heard of it. Never been.
Okay,
I've been there a few times.
If you ever want to see actors that you loved when you were a child,
no, I don't.
You'll go to Branson, Missouri, and you'll just be going around town and you'll be bumping into them because they're all there.
That's great.
I bumped into the guy that played Schneider from One Day at a Time over there.
Oh my God.
Once. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my favorite line in the movie. This is my favorite line in the entire movie. It's a little back and forth, but it kills me every time I hear it. Buckaroo, President's on the line, wants to know if everything's all right with Planet 10, or should we just go ahead and nuke the Russians? Tell them yes on one, no on two. Then the guy, wait, which one was yes? Nuke the Russians or two?
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. Yeah, it was it just had some really good stuff, and you definitely have to watch it more than once, because there's so much packed into this movie. It's just nonstop, wham, 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 wham through the whole thing, and I'd be laughing at the last scene trying to listen to the new one, and I missed some of it, because you can't help but miss stuff because you're laughing, or you're like, that was so funny, I wish I could watch it again. Now, if you're doing it at home, you can rewind it.
Of course. How absurd is it from the world point of view that they're about to give a conference with the Secretary of Defense there about how they've transversed the dimensional barriers and brought back alien life, but we got to wrap it up quick because there's a biker convention coming in.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? But
that's the shit that makes the movie so good.
That's why I said there's so many possibilities in it. I mean, for someone like me, that, like I said, the first sci-fi stuff I ever watched was with my dad, and I watched all Godzilla reruns, all that stuff when I was a girl, because I was the only one that wanted to watch it with my dad. None of my sisters wanted to watch it, and I just loved all of it. And I loved that one kung fu movie where the guy's carrying a baby around in a wagon. I can't remember the name of it, but man, it was good. And I love that stuff. So anyone that would see this movie that likes sci-fi and likes the campiness of it, they're going to want to watch it over and over again, because it's just got so much in it. Just like you said you've seen it, what, 40 times, 50 times?
80.
Okay.
80.
And you said you heard things today that you had never, you didn't realize was even in it. And that's how much stuff is in this movie. It's packed, filled.
That's all I'm going to say.
So many quips. So much stuff. Yeah, it's a great poster. You need to get it
It's
on.
not the best poster. The best poster is the white one, but I can never find it for a good price. The one they put in the lobbies and stuff, that was an amazing poster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was amazed how many posters and stuff, because I got on the thing trying to see what kind of props or whatever you could buy, and there was a lot of those little alien things, that little ship thing that flew. That was really cool. The concept of some of the styles they used for the alien ships, and I laughed every time I saw it when they did the inside of the one ship, and they were like little toddlers sitting in these ginormous chairs way off the ground.
Yeah. How did they get up there? How did they get in these fucking chairs?
I don't know, but it was funny as shit. I could have a laugh every time. It was great. Just little stuff. See, that's something some people might even not even noticed, but I can help it. I love the sets and the backgrounds and the costumes, the colors, all that stuff, along with the acting. It just pulls me into it. You know what I mean? It just pulls me into whatever's going on, and I feel like I'm enveloped in it. And I'm able to do that. I guess I'm going to have a different imagination than most people, but I just love it. I could see myself trying to crawl up there and get one of those chairs and sit like, what was it? That TV show with Lily Tomlin or whatever. My mom loved that show. Hee Haw or something. I can't remember the name of it. And she was real tiny, sitting in this ginormous chair. That's all I could picture. Every time I saw those men or the aliens sitting in those chairs with, controlling their ship or whatever, I just thought it was.
And there's a reason why this movie was not really embraced too hard. One, had a very hostile producer at MGM, and the competition for 84, that's one of me and Janet's years that we really like to milk. I've already beat up 19
year in cinema history.
I'm not going to go into all the movies released, but I'm just going to say that, like, you had Terms of Endearment take 4 weeks of #1 at the box office. You had Footloose take 3 weeks of #1 at the box office. Splash did 2 weeks at the box office. Police Academy claimed #1 in its 5th weekend of release. Okay. Now, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, was #1 for one of the weekends, and it killed $11 million at the box office in 1984 prices. That is fucking crazy. You had The Natural. You had Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was the biggest weekend of all time, surpassing The Return of the Jedi up to this point. And then you have Star Trek 3. And then the summer really began after that, as much as I love Star Trek 3, because the Excelsior is in that. And you have Ghostbusters get released, which held on to #1 for like 8 weeks.
Okay. Look, Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, Gremlins, Karate Kid, Police Academy, Footloose, Romancing the Stone, Last
You want to know the
Starfighter,
funny thing? Gremlins never got #1 for a week in 1984. Do you understand how fucking crazy that is?
It's an amazing year.
Yeah, Gremlins is the #3 film for 84's box office, and it never took #1 at the box. So that is just how fucking strong 84 was.
You've got Silkwood. You got Terms of Endearment. You've got The
Beverly Hills Cop. Don't forget that.
You got which one?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop. Red Dawn. All of Me. Teachers. The Terminator.
Yeah.
All that came out in 84. Every one of them.
Hang on. Oh God, You Devil, the last George Burns movies, 84. Missing in Action, Supergirl. Like, it just goes on and on this fucking year in movies. It's the greatest year
Jesus.
in the history of cinema.
We could do nothing but 1984 movies, Bruce.
Yeah, we could.
Welcome
Yeah,
to my
we
new
could.
channel. We'll be doing
Awesome.
every movie released in 1984 on my new show.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, they're all great movies. And I can see why this movie, yeah, because see, I didn't see this movie at the theater, but I wish I had. Now I didn't realize how good it was going to be. But it just, like you say, when you're on you know, you just don't know. You just don't know what you're missing until you see something sometimes. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. I'm definitely going to get this movie for my collection. And
it's insane. This movie is like, I watch it twice a year. Twice a year, I'll watch it. So now this year, I guess I'll be doing it 3 times since I just watched it with you guys. It is just one of those movies that if you get it, you get it, and you will love it. And that's just the way. It's like Big Trouble in Little China. If you get it, you get it, and you're gonna love it. You know?
Yeah.
What
year did Big Trouble
IMDb
come out?
86, 87, 87, 88.
Oh, so it was a few years later. What, Six Nations?
Bruce, you got IMDb up?
Yeah, I do.
86 was Big Trouble.
Go to the photos and then go to 110, and then bring that up. We've talked about.
Is that Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, this is the Electroids.
Oh, the black and the red Electra. A race war in New Jersey. A girl named John. I just fucking love this.
It was fun. They had, it was just a lot of fun, and you could tell that there was a lot of ad-libbing. I think in this movie.
Yeah.
I would have to go back and look, but it seemed like there was, because they had a natural flow about it, and the reactions from the other actors, you could tell that they weren't expecting it. You know what I mean? The look on their face. So things like that, I love. I love a movie that has a little. The director gives them leeway to be the characters that they've been hired to be. You know, and sometimes it's genius when they do that, and you can tell.
So Robert Vito, who plays Hakeda, that little Asian creature, was like 30 something when this movie was made. He wanted the role so badly, he went and did his own aging makeup to go to the audition. That's how much he wanted the fucking role. Like, think about that. Think about this script. People read this script and wanted to be in the movie.
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of people wanted to be in this movie. But one thing I was really surprised by, because Ellen Barkin looks like she's 21 maybe in this movie.
Yeah.
And she was 30 years old in this movie. I was surprised. And then Peter Weller was 37. And John Lithgow was 39 years old. Because I went to look
Bruce,
I couldn't
can you
believe.
jump over to picture 10 for a second so we can, while Janet's talking about this, because let me tell you, this drives the point home. Picture 10. Keep scrolling down. There she is.
Yeah. 30 years old. Does
30
she
years
look 30?
old and
She does
smoking.
not look at her. She is in shape. I mean, you can see all her muscles in her chest.
Is perfect in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I already know this. I love seeing love. I like, the only woman on cinema that I think probably should be enjoyed more would maybe be Dinah Meyer. And I just discovered yesterday that Dinah Meyer is a dancer, and that's why she looks like Janet at whatever age she's at. So anyway.
Well, you gotta have good genes, and you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Buckaroo Banzai to heroic / Zenith universe connection for you.
Yeah, I can see exactly why.
Why does Lady America have short blonde hair? That image you just had up is exactly why Lady America has short blonde hair, because of Ellen fucking Barkin in this movie.
She just looks adorable, for lack of a profane term here with mixed company. Yeah, we get it, Bear.
See, a woman can have short hair and still be not look mannish. You know what I mean? She can be very sexy and attractive with the hair
Not
short,
look like a bowler. Are you saying
and not look like a, you know,
she drives a Mack truck for a living?
yeah, or
She
something
played
like that.
softball.
Drives a Subaru.
My mother had short hair. I don't remember my mother ever having long hair. Now she had a bun that she put on her top of her head sometimes when she do things that she from her real hair when she cut it off. But once she got it short, she didn't want to let it grow out. Oh, he looks really good in this movie. And I
Janet,
don't usually like blondes at all, but for some reason, his character in this movie was very, very attractive. And the fact it just cracked me up every time I saw him with his shirt wide open all the time. You know, like you just saw it. Just reminded
That
me
jacket,
of
though.
commercials.
Come on.
Yeah,
that
Hey,
jacket should be making a mess in aisle 9 right now.
I'd wear that. I'd wear that as a dress.
I tell you what, I was really hopeful when I was watching this movie that this nightclub scene, whoever was the director of photography or whatever, whoever was doing that, I was so much wanting to see the rest of this film like that. And then I watched it and I'm like, it kind of has a different look than what I was promised. And then I read what happened. Peter Weller owes that guy a punch in the head. This movie could have been the movie that made Peter Weller absolutely fucking famous for. Instead, we wait 3 years and he turns into fucking Robo Jesus. But it still turned out really fucking good for Peter Weller. But damn it, we could have known about this film and like been watching it. This movie could have been the #1 movie on ABC Night at the Movies or NBC whenever they do their, primetime movie broadcast. It's intercut up with cartoons and commercial crap. This movie could have been really big. And instead, this was fumbled so hard by MGM. Fuck you, MGM. Oh, wait, Janet.
Yeah.
Janet, you want to do me a favor? Could you find out who the movie house was that fucked up Ice Pirates? Because this is the same fucking year that Ice Pirates got fucked up. And we've discussed that movie before.
Yeah, let me get. I'd have to go get on Google.
For our longtime viewers, not that you guys aren't, for you longtime viewers, Janet did a pretty deep dive into what the hell happened with Ice Pirates, because that movie has a very good script to it. It has a really interesting set of ideas, but yet the guy that was overseeing this at whatever studio it was, he hated this movie. He hated the Ice Pirates, and so he even went as far as destroying.
He was an editor.
What?
He was one of the editors.
Was it? I thought the editor was the actual, like, one of the studio heads.
Yeah, it was. Well, there was like a. Is it this one or the other one? I'm getting it mixed up with Cutthroat Island, because remember, he had the same thing with that. Even Paul Newman and his wife were getting screwed over by that one company, because they were already in $60 million in debt before.
That's Carol Co. That wasn't.
But it was similar to that, because they had a lot of people that wanted to see the movie fail, so they made sure they hired the worst person to do the editing that they could get.
By the way, Ice Pirates is MGM.
So,
well, isn't that a fucking coinky dink?
I was trying to look it up. Sorry, I was too busy talking.
That's okay.
You're
Okay.
great.
Because we had Perfect Tommy on the screen, all I can say is this: give her your code. Why? Because you're perfect.
Perfect.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
You have a point.
Yeah.
That was good. I like that scene.
This movie here, like, you can see the glimmers of greatness in it, but when you watch it, you're denied that, and it breaks your heart when you find out what happened.
Ice Pirates is a fine movie, but it's no Buckaroo Banzai.
No. I don't think it's the same.
Just saying.
There is so much detail with, and you could tell the people that they hired for, let's say, for the sets, for the person who made the costumes, the person who hired each of the people to play the characters. They loved this script. because they were very strict about who they were going to get, and they wanted to make sure that the people could play that part. There's a lot of love in this movie, and you can see it. It comes across when you watch it. Definitely, I can see.
Think about this. It's 84. So we're still riding the thrust of the lived-in future of sci-fi that Star Wars created, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do they do for this one? They make everything look like it was created by bugs with resin.
Yeah.
Or when they're watching the Pink Record, you know, with the thing, and it's got a bug riding around as its thing, and they have to put on bubble wrap fucking eyepiece.
I know. I just love that. You know what that reminded me of? Gamers Darkness Rising.
Yeah.
Because of them having to scramble everywhere to get any props they can because they had no money, right? Yeah. So the fact that they did that when I know they had to have money to be able to just buy glasses or whatever, they could have done anything. But the fact that the person that did the props and the people that were building things to put in there here and there through the movie, because they come up with things, you know, like the banana clip that was used for Geordie's eyes, right? Yeah. Different things like that. That's a person who loves their job and that just wants to put some fun in there and see what the people think when they get to watch it. And it was wonderful. I loved it. I thought it was a touch of genius because everyone that watched it knew that was bubble wrap. You know what I mean? And they're like, what the hell? This is cool. Some people are going to think that's stupid, but other ones, I loved it. I thought it was a great touch.
You're right. The prop team, the costume team did a great job. Wait until you rewatch it, okay? Mm-hmm. And you'll see what the set deck team was doing. When they're in the Lectroid in Yoyodyne, pay attention to all the graffiti on the walls and on the doors.
I'll have to do that.
It's amazing. It's all misspelled. Like secret is spelled S-E-K-R-E-T and stuff like this. But it's like it's got messages. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, it is. There's so much is packed in this movie. It's impossible to see it all. No, and if you keep pausing it to go back and see it, you never can get through the movie. I mean, it just takes forever. But I wanted to a few times. I wanted to stop and go back and watch it again. That's almost like I did when I watched Team America World Police. You know, there was lots of stuff that I rewound because I just laughed and laughed my ass off through that whole movie. It was so good and very entertaining. And that's how I feel about this one. And there's so much love in this movie. I mean, it just oozes love that these people love their characters. They love this movie. And even down to the guy that brings the batteries to the cameraman. I mean, they all had to work hand in hand for this movie to come together. Even with a producer that hates it, if the people love it, they're going to outmaneuver the producer. I hate to say that, but no, not really. But
well, you know, okay, so this is a perfect example, Janet. You got the end credit sequence, which is infamous now, and it was Steve Zissou and all that. The Life Aquatic, they whatever that movie's called, they fucking mimicked it. As I said before we came on, they had run out of money. They were down to their last bits of money. The producer that hated them wanted to end it on the kiss, and they're like, "We're not ending this movie on that kiss. That's a nice ending, but it's not the ending we want." Convinced all the actors to come out for a day in the LA River, right? That culvert thing. Got all their costumes together.
Yeah.
Had some set deck there to put the graffiti on the side and stuff like that, and shoot that ending of them all walking to what we know as Uptown Girl before they had the end credit music. That's amazing. That shows dedication. To get actors to come out, they probably took a big pay hit for that day.
And the camera people. Because they zoomed in on certain outfits, like the double belt, all the little things that was 80s, huge 80s stuff. They zoomed in on it, and the hairstyles, the makeup. I mean, it was just great. And you could tell everyone that was in that was happy to be there. They would have been there for nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's how much they love this movie. And it you can tell. You could tell these people love this movie, and I love it because I could feel that coming from the
you will know that you are a true fan of this movie when I say Rawhide and you go, oh, man. Because Rawhide gets the short end of the stick, but you just love Rawhide for the scenes he's in. Clancy Brown owned this fucking role.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Oh,
this is the first movie I think I recognized Clancy Brown in, because I didn't recognize him the first few times I watched the Highlander movie.
Oh yeah,
but he's in that. Like, okay, this is a future watch. I'm not letting you know when, but It'll probably be in like October of next year. We got to watch Leviathan.
Okay, but only we can watch Deep Star 6 too.
Yes.
Yeah, those two would go. Those are a good double feature, I think. And weren't those released at the same time?
Roughly within the year of each other, yeah.
Yeah, like 6 months, I thought.
Yeah, something like that.
Because
I
so
saw them both in the theater. That counts.
yeah, and another Peter Weller film I might add for Leviathan.
Yes.
But I can't believe that this is the first time I've seen this movie, because I just was enjoying the shit out of it both times I've watched it, and I thought this is really fucking good. Like one of those movies where if like your spouse hasn't seen something yet, you're like, come on, we're gonna go watch a movie, and you want to go take them to go see it, because that's kind of how this movie made me feel. Like I wanted to not only tell my wife, but I want to tell my friends, like, hey, if you haven't seen this Buckaroo Banzai film, you really want to go see it. And I think this movie here is where we're shorting ourselves by trusting movie makers to make good movies in 2025, because they're not. And instead, you should be asking local theaters, hey, can you get the print or can you get the rights to show a movie from like 20, 30 years ago instead? Because you'll have more of a fucking box office here.
Listen, Bruce. If you find out they're showing this at the Alamo Draft House, let me know, and I'll take my vacation time and figure out how to fly down to fucking Texas to watch it on the big screen.
The sad part is I would rather you pick the screen.
See, this would be a good movie to watch on the big screen. It's got everything you want to sit in a real comfortable chair, have a huge box of popcorn on your lap and a Slurpee or whatever, and just gobble it up while you're laughing your ass off watching this movie, because that would be good. Yeah, that would be fun.
So what were you going to say, Bruce?
I think Buckaroo Banzai would be the iconic Draft House film to watch, because the Draft House experience is different from any other theater I've ever been in. I'm sure other theaters have done it on other locations, but when I was going to go see a film at the Draft House, the first 30 minutes before the movie, they turn down the lights and they start showing you all the media that was going on from this time period.
Oh, nice.
If you're watching a Marvel film, you're getting to see Stan Lee talk about the impetus of what this character or what these characters were doing in his head and how he put them to paper for his books before he started making films in the 80s with him and then doing all these cameos.
Would they fact check him though? Because he lied a lot.
I don't know if they fact check him or not, but
Stan Lee told a lot of lies, including stating, and I'm not kidding, that his brother made up the name Mjolnir, which is from Norse mythology, but he claimed his brother made the name up. Like Stan Lee was a renowned showman. You know what I mean?
But we do have a couple of theaters in the South down here that are family owned, that they've gone through generations, and they do let you do that. They let you bring your DVD or whatever and play it for parties. You rent the whole thing, and then you can have like nachos. You pick stuff that you want delivered or brought out while you're watching the movie, and they have servers that serve you, and they'll serve pitchers of beer and things like that, and it's like a party. So you can do that, because they were hurting after the whole COVID things. They were trying to figure out ways to get people to come and make money. So I always encourage people, please, order from a food truck. Go to the places and try to do it once a week if you can afford it, to help these people stay in business. And all the way from NOLA up to where I'm at now, because I travel back and forth a lot, and they do it. So there are, and we do have I think 3 drive-in theaters.
Wow.
So in Arkansas. So I'm just saying, if you can get, that's a great experience too. A couple times I've gone, and they were playing a double feature, like Blood Beach and something else. I can't remember the other one. And going to sit in your car, sit on the hood of your car and watch a movie like your grandparents used to do. It's really, really cool to get to do that. So if, just to try it out, because if you love movies as much as I do, and I went and saw, because of Six Nations, he told me about Nosferatu, and I went by myself, and it was so good. But I love horror, so I really enjoyed it, and I was alone. There was like 23 people in the theater by the end of the movie, but it was great. So there are people trying to make good movies again, and I'm hoping to do that, because the movie theater experience, especially for something like this good of a film, I recommend that you try to do that, because it's just not the same sitting in your living room watching a movie that's meant to be on the big screen. At least not to me.
One of my fondest memories was in 1984 watching Romancing the Stone on top of my next door neighbor's mom's station wagon. We're wrapped up in blankets, munching on popcorn at the drive-in. Like, we used to go to the drive-in, almost every other weekend. And then they would do a flea market, like Friday, Saturday, and then like Sunday you could check out the movies. But nowadays, all those places are closing down. So to go to an actual theater or a drive-in, they're a dying breed now. Like, go and do it. It's well worth it.
Yeah. When I was a little girl, I think I was like maybe 7. Yeah, 7. I think I was 7. When we lived in the Philippines, they had a thing called Happening on the Green, and it was like a giant drive-in, but it was all grass, beautiful grass. It was real thick and nice, like at a golf course. And you just took blankets and you rolled them out, because it was in the Philippines, it was nice. And then you took picnics, baskets out there and stuff, and they had all kinds of movies that you could watch with your families. And it was wonderful. So, I mean, anything like that, but seeing it on the big screen is so magical. Well, at least it is to me. So.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. But I mean, I can't go to movie theaters anymore because it's people treat it like their living room. They talk, they're on their phones, they're doing all this kind of crazy shit, and it's like,
it's sad.
It's just not good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Lucio Fulci movies like Zombie vs. Shark.
The Church.
The what?
The Church. I thought it was there was one called The Church from years ago. It was an Italian horror film. Might be a Dario Argento movie.
Zombie 3. Like he made a lot of weird movies. City of the Living Dead, stuff like that. Lucio Fulci made a lot of weird movies.
Lord Thoth.
He made some of my favorite stuff though.
Hey Cotton, how you doing, sir? Bear.
Yeah.
This movie really surprised the shit out of me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Me too. I loved it. It was great. And it was fun to actually get to see another movie that Bruce hasn't seen. So, because he's always griping about me not seeing anything, that I missed so much stuff. But,
I would
can't see everything that's made.
If I could just download all the movies that Janet, just download the list of movies that Janet has seen, and just look at it, see which ones she's watched. Now, I know she's seen The Raid or The Great Raid probably about 30 times, but we can.
Hey, I told you one I want to watch, and you were like, well, we'll think about it. So, I've seen it, because usually when I request a movie, it's one I've seen and I really like it. Like when I got you to watch the one about the guy dating a doll from his traumatic experience, So.
I felt sorry for that guy. I still feel sorry for that character. And that movie, I watched it, what was it, 2 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the first ones that I asked for. And I still want to see that one, High Tension. I still want to see that. I think it's a great foreign film, and I want to watch it. And it's a horror movie.
It's a rough watch.
Oh, I know, but man, it's good.
French horror films tend to be very rough watches.
Yeah, but still.
What's your favorite French film of all time, Bear?
From France?
From France.
A movie with Sophie Marceau called Fanfan.
I've not seen it.
Fan for the Americans.
Okay.
It is. I'm trying to remember who the male lead in is. Fanfan, Sophie Marceau. The male lead in it is Vincent Perez,
Okay.
and it is the most intensely. It's a romantic comedy, believe it or not, but there are moments in it, and it's from like 19 92, 93, something like that. And there are moments in it that under 2025 lens, you just be like, well, that's some crazy stalker bullshit. But for the French, it's romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some definite cultural differences when you watch French cinema. The two movies that I reference whenever I talk about French cinema is one's With a Friend Like Henry, which
Okay.
that's not a bad film. It's not an easy watch, not a hard watch. I like it. But then my favorite French film of all time is, I think, 2003, The Brotherhood of the Wolf, or Pac de Loup.
Oh, Pac de Loup. Pac de Loup is amazing.
Yes.
But it's not my favorite French film, but it's an amazing film.
I think I haven't had anything surpassed yet on that. Six Nations. Before I ask for final questions or from chat and such, I want to know how you've seen this movie probably about 8 times, 10 times.
It's been about a dozen,
Okay.
give or take.
Do you remember the video games and anything coming out about this film when you were younger? Because you and I were about the same age when this movie came out, and I remember seeing this movie advertised on Good Morning America, and then it went just silent. I didn't even see an advert for it.
I vaguely remember the Atari game,
Mm-hmm.
because at that time it was pretty NES. We had a 2600, and then there was the PC game. I think it was for the Commodore 64. If I'm
Yeah.
not
And
not
Apple
mistaken.
II. It was for a bunch of the Timex. It's all weird
Yeah,
stuff.
Apple II.
The Commodore at the time. Yeah. Computers at the time. Yeah, but I was
I've never
wondering, do
played
you
the
remember
games.
any toys or anything?
No, I don't.
I don't remember even seeing a trailer for this movie, but now I understand, because once you told me all those movies, because I did see a lot of those
Of
movies.
course.
So, I don't remember if I saw them exactly at the movie theater, but that's a buttload of movies to come out in 1 year. So that is a lot of competition for.
Yeah, I was 7 at the time, so I was probably like transfixed with freaking GI Joe and Transformers and GoBots.
Well, yeah, I'm
and
sure there was a lot of family movies too
all that
Yeah.
stuff.
that came out. But see, I just remember, I've brought this up before, standing in line when I went to see South Park the movie, and there was like, I looked down the line and I see all these people with little kids, and I'm like, why are they bringing children to this movie? And when I asked a couple of them, they said it's a cartoon, and I said, but this is not for kids.
Which
And
movie?
a lot of them got up. No, not this one. It's South Park the movie.
No. Yeah, South Park. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
actually
and I was like, what the, and they get up and left, because there was it's adult humor. So I was just surprised that people don't pay that much attention to finding out what the movie's about before they even buy a ticket to it. So to me, it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. Just never would have thought about that, but.
It's kind of funny. If there was a lunchbox made, then
I'm going to start
the
looking
kids
for memorabilia now.
would know.
I used to have the headband. Okay. And it said Team Banzai.
With the improper Japanese.
No, proper Japanese. It said Team Banzai instead. I'm living in Vancouver. I'm renting a room from my agent, and I wake up one morning and I walk into the kitchen, and her 15-year-old daughter is wearing it like a belt. And I'm just like, and it was tight on my head. You know what I mean? Like when I tied it, it was like I got a big head. I was like, "You're wearing that as a belt?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's really cool." I'm like, "Keep it. It's yours." I'm embarrassed by how large my skull is.
Because it was like a karate belt, basically.
For her, almost.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see that's kind of cool. Because some of the stuff that they did wear kind of looked karate-ish. Kind of looked like something you would wear.
Well, it's early weeaboo, right? So he's a Japanese fetishist because his father was Japanese and all this kind of stuff. But like he dresses like a samurai and stuff. It's just weird. It's a weird
Yeah,
movie.
I know. I thought it was good though, but I could see that would be popular, especially in the '80s. Because what was in it? Let's Get Physical and all the hand gloves with no fingers and just all that different stuff was popular in the '80s,
Hey,
wasn't it?
Janet, my dick can only get so hard, please. Okay, stop reminding me of the greatest era of fashion.
Oh
ever.
yeah, man.
I
Came out of the '80s.
Sushi, cheap Japanese cars.
if I see a
Frickin',
woman with like the lycra or the whatever the stretchy pants were at the time, and she's got on leg warmers, I'm done for.
Oh, Jesus, leg warmers.
I guess I'll have to make a
I'm
video
fucking
of
sorry.
this.
That was my first introduction. Oh,
I've
Bruce,
got
we've got
a
chemistry
personal
going on.
Go rewatch Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Jamie Lee Curtis is the aerobics
Yeah.
instructor.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It wasn't that. What was his name? The guy from Greece. He was in that too, wasn't he?
Wasn't Travolta in that?
Yeah, Travolta. Yeah, he's the reporter from Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, FASA did it too with the Yo-Yo Dine stuff and things like that. But Star Trek, there's a lot of Buckaroo Banzai references in Star
Yeah, I
Trek.
remember that one movie was Spock wearing a headband around the top of his ears,
Star
like
Trek
a
4.
guru or whatever. Yeah, so that no one could see his ears were pointed. So I thought that was, just little things like that was really cool.
Oh my God, are we doing this?
The '90s had some good fashions too. I think every year has had something cool that's come from it.
It was neo 80s fashion in the 90s.
Yeah, I do recommend this movie. So
I
if I can get one of my sisters to watch it and they say, wow, it was really good, it might be Sandy or maybe Jennifer. Those two might enjoy it. But I know Dan and Kathy will say, this is dumb because they like that traveling pants movie and some of that shit. That's the kind of stuff they want to take me to. And I'm like, oh, nah, thanks. So, I don't know. They just like stuff that I'm not interested in. So
interesting. Wasn't expecting that, but okay. I'd like to, if you guys have seen this movie, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, go ahead, put your comments about it and your rating in the chat. And I'm going to start our reviews. Go ahead, Six Nations, if you could. Go ahead and if you want to expand or if you want to expound upon your reasons why you might rate it so high or low, go ahead, my friend.
Oh damn. God, what this get? Like originally, it was like slightly above average because its quirkiness.
it's like 6
according to
something
critics.
on Rotten Tomatoes or something, isn't it?
Yeah, about a 6.
Mm-hmm. I'm rating it higher than that.
I would easily say this is like 75 to 80. If you're into that sort of thing. If you're not, this is going to confuse the hell out of you. And you probably won't like it. But if you like quirky, absurd, freaking gonzo, over-the-top awesomeness with a good dose of pulp and like Bear said, with the throwaway lines, like there's so much dialogue in this movie that you're like, what?
Orson Welles? With the guy from the old wine commercials?
I loved all of that with Orson Welles. The whole talk about that.
And then you got the red lectroids or lectroids that are like this dictatorship, highly hostile, aggressive faction. Then you got the Jamaican-sounding black lectroids that are more democratic and peaceful, and they're battling against each other.
A race war in New Jersey?
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. And then there's like little details, like the organicness of their technology.
Yeah, I like
the red lectroids. They this ability to spit out these, and it's really nasty and alien and funky. See it with the good guys, because the good guys are peaceful, but they have awesome fashion sense. This movie was great. As a kid growing up, I just thought it was like it was like almost watching a comic book in moving format for me. It's a weird, quirky film that if you get it, you get it. So, yeah, 75 to 80% out of 100, going with the percentile system. It's worth a watch. Grab your friends, your family, sit down, get a beverage, something to, and enjoy. An hour and a half, 2 hours of goodness. It's a rare gem.
Bruce, you still there?
Would you, Janet, please read Mr. Chimerian's statement here, if you could?
Oh, 9.5 out of 10 lives eternally, as in jokes and knowing nods, references and nerd culture decades after. One of my favorite comics ended a 300 issue run with a nod to this movie. Wow. It's really
Guy,
good.
what comic book was that, if you don't mind me asking? I'd like to know.
See, I thought this was from a comic book, but it wasn't. So I don't know. But I want to add Earth Girls Are Easy to the list. I know I've told you that in the past, but yeah, can you put it on there again?
The only problem I really have with that movie was we've discussed it from.
I know.
Yeah.
You can't like everything.
No, not that. It's the fact that wasn't that the troublesome part of the movie In Search of Tomorrow?
Yes, because you didn't like.
They monopolized the entire
like the baby and they never pay for drinks. You don't like her. I know.
I don't like
Downtown Julie Brown.
Oh God, Downtown Julie Brown or Julie Brown or whatever the fuck.
She's in the movie, but I still like the movie. I like all the other people in the movie, and I like the story in the movie. So, and she doesn't do too bad.
You doing, sir?
But it is funny.
One of my favorite.
Them was a great movie.
Speaking of comic artists,
Comic Ants, giant.
Vinny Art is in the chat. One of my favorite local comic artists here. Well, he's not local to me, but he's a good friend of ours on the web. Thank you, sir. Love your work.
There he is. Kai's replying.
All right. So Kai says Fred Perry's Gold Digger by Antarctic Press. He did 301 issues, a single writer artist comic that ran that long.
That's very rare.
Yeah, very rare.
Yeah. Okay. So, Janet, what was your view? This movie, you and I walked into it. We had no idea what it's about up until the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. What's your review?
Well, just like I've said mostly through the whole show we've been doing, I loved it. I mean, I was really shocked because I was not knowing what I was going to get from this, especially when all I did was read the synopsis of it. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting in over my head. Because you know how I felt when I watched Meat Train and some of your other movies. I liked some scenes, but I had a hard time getting through the whole movie. But this one, it was almost from the very beginning, I was laughing. And I was like, oh, hope they get through this or whatever, that type of thing. I was pulled in. The romance of it, the not understanding the romance. I wish there was a little more. They gave more detail about his wife, because he's got a band with these guys and they hang out all the time and they don't know that she looks just like his wife. Stuff like that. I just thought took me out of that a little bit. So there was little things like that. And that could have all just been editing, that they cut stuff out that should have stayed in the movie. You know what I mean? That's why I said editing to me is the number one reason you ruin a movie. It's because you got the wrong person in there. He cuts out the wrong shit. So it could have been that, because I haven't seen the version that Bear was talking about that had more in it. So I'm going to have to watch that, because if there was a little bit more details, like the part with his mother and his dad, little things like that, because he doesn't look Asian at all. So you wouldn't even known that except for his last name, you know? So there's just little things like that. I wish that I could see that version. I think I would probably even rate it higher, because I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 stars. And it's only because there's just a few things here and there that to me made it harder for me to understand his whole feelings for Penny. You know what I mean? That was the only thing. Just that part, the relationship between them two, was hard for me to get into because it was gaps in there. And even if his team doesn't even know who she is or what she looks like, whatever, to me, that just didn't make sense for such a team that's willing to die for each other, go to war and fight for each other. And a couple of his friends did almost die. So, you know, I just thought that was, I don't know. That, to me, it was the only thing that hurt the movie. But I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 because I really thought it was great. It was fun. This is a fun movie. I think anybody that likes sci-fi at all could sit and watch this and laugh and give you a real entertainment, which is what we're really lacking. Something to take you out of your daily grind and put you in something where you can laugh and cheer for the good guy and make you feel good about it at the end. When you're done watching it, you feel like, damn, that was worth every minute I spent watching it. And we need more of that. And I can't wait till they start making some good shit again. But that's my point of view on this movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Bear, as our resident fan and sage of the Buckaroo Banzai universe,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you first about the sequel novel and the comics. Would they?
No. My answer is no. Don't touch them. Stay away from them. Even the stuff that was written by Rauch, stay away from it, because W.D. Richter was an important force in keeping Rauch from going too far into the gonzo and too far into the absurd. Richter was the grounding force, right, which we see when he does the screenplay for Big Trouble in Little China. He's able to constantly bring the woohoo down to a human level for us to relate to. All the Buckaroo Banzai external stuff that's been created by Rauch and by others goes way too far into the absurd, and it loses its relatability. You don't feel like you're reading something for normal people. So I would definitely say negatory on that, good buddy.
Okay.
But the other thing that'll annoy the living shit out of you is if you're a fan of this and you go look for some of the stuff. Everybody that's like Rauch and the crew, the people that are involved in producing material for it or like commentary, they treat it as, they call it a docudrama. And they pretend that Buckaroo Banzai is a real person and that this really happened. So they're constantly kayfabing the shit out of you when you just want to know about the production of the goddamn movie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, that was really hard to get. Now we're starting to get stuff that's because the actors are having talking and stuff like that. We're getting more of what happened behind the scenes. Whereas previously it was just endless fucking kayfabe. And it was just like, stop. No one believes that. That's so fucking nerdy. Stop. Let us know about the movie. We want to know more. We want to know about the real shit that happened. Not that Buckaroo Banzai is a real person. And no, that's really annoying. Now, review. Before we review, I have two things to say to Janet. One, no doubt in it. That's Peggy. Pictures don't lie. It's true. Met my first wife that way. The Hong Kong Cavaliers definitely recognized her. You might have missed that little moment where they're looking at the picture of her in the paper before he goes in. That's all. But it wasn't like they didn't see who she was, but from stage, they didn't recognize her. It's
okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, was she very, very beautiful? She was the Queen of the Netherlands. And that's all I've ever needed to know about his love for her. That's how he refers to her. And that tells me how much Buckaroo loved her. That's magic for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's absolute magic. It's amazing. You guys know my reviews on movies. I don't do percentages. I don't do stars. I don't do that. I go, nah, meh, and yeah. Right? Well, clearly for Buckaroo Banzai, it's going to be two of these because my favorite film of all time, and I've seen thousands of films, and this is the one that tops the heap every time for me because of all the crazy shit in it. That's what I like. So there you go. That's my review.
Well, I wanted to ask one question. Have any of you, I know you haven't, Bruce, but have Bear or Six Nations, do you guys gone to a con and seen anyone doing anything for Buckaroo Banzai, any, like older, because they
Yeah.
do a lot of older movies. I don't remember. I've gone to lots of cons, and I don't really remember seeing anything from Buckaroo Banzai.
I've
You would
seen.
have recognized it, Janet, because you didn't know what to look for. And next time
Well,
you go,
yeah.
now you're going to see
But I
it.
didn't see this. See, I didn't see any signs up there for you to go up and
No,
get stuff.
it's not talked about, really. It really is not talked about. You'll see guys that go to conventions, especially RPG cons. You'll see guys go up to like the Cyberpunk or Shadowrun tables, and they'll be dressed a lot like Tommy Perfect. They'll be trying to pull off some Peter Weller, Buckaroo Banzai look, and you'll see that, and you'll hear the phrase, "Or no matter where you go," and the other guy won't answer. There you are. That's something I always heard in Central Illinois, at
Mhm.
either the convention at WinterCon, at Winter War in Champaign Urbana, or at Egyptian Con in Carbondale, Illinois. I heard it over at Dragon Con in '93 in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, you see this all the time. And so whenever you go to these stupid little conventions, these fun little gaming cons, and I'm sure it happens at, sci-fi comic cons or whatever, but that's really not my scene. I mean, you have discussions like that in front of you, and they'll last very short. You'll have guys, they just know you're a fan. You're obviously a fan of the movie if you're dressed like that. And then you'll also, like, occasionally you'll see someone. There used to be a guy out of St. Louis that he would run on at the open tables at the Egyptian campaign down in Carbondale, about an hour and a half away from St. Louis. He would run a open table for a D&D game set in the Buckaroo Banzai universe.
Mhm.
And that was kind of cool. You have things like that. I mean, this movie has its share of fans like Bear spread across the world. I'm positive. In Western civilization, where this movie has aired and been shown, it captures imaginations. And
Real quick, Bruce, I'm sharing something with you.
please,
This is my next. This is my next T-shirt purchase for sure. For sure. I was just scrolling through TeePublic, and this is going to be the next T-shirt I buy.
oh wow, that
Hong Kong Cavaliers. I just love that when they said that in the movie. I laughed.
Yep.
that was great.
That's gonna be my next shirt, man. Buckaroo Banzai and the Hong Kong Cavaliers.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
But I did like the BB
Yeah.
thing on the car, the
Yeah.
license plate. I thought that was pretty cool. That was
I like-
You know what that's a reference to, right?
Mm-mm.
The Rocket 88 by Oldsmobile.
Oh,
So
really?
the BB is designed to look like the 88 logo.
Oh, I'll have to go look at it now. See that.
So if any of you here, I mean, you're probably here because, like, we have Janet, we have Bear, but you guys know I love percentages. Bear, he's going to give more of a rounding review of something. It's good, it's not good, don't see it. I like percentages. I like percentages so damn much. Everything in my fucking game that I'm designing revolves around percentages. And I would say this movie really fucking surprised me. And the more that I watch it, the more I'm thinking this movie should have been big. It should have been Tor Fantasy 10 books deep big. And I'm going to say that just for this film itself, I'm going to give it an 86, as you can see. And I hope that this inspires someone to see it. Vinny Art, you said earlier, I must see this movie. There's a link right there. Christian, thank you for your kind compliments on the paint work that I'm doing on this ogre here. But if you guys want to see this film, there's a link for Tubi TV. Tubi, you don't even need your credit card to watch a glut of stuff that will keep you glued to your seats and couches for weeks, and not bad stuff either. I mean, they've got good series on there. They've got anime. They've got a extensive horror section. Unfortunately, Janet doesn't want to see it because it was all made for under $50. But still,
Hey, I've liked a few of the horror movies that you shared with me.
I honestly believe this is one of those films that if you see it, you're going to be kind of inspired, and you're going to get a little wistful for if only we had lived in the correct timeline where MGM had not fouled up everything. Because God damn it, we're discovering the mid '80s they soured a lot of properties.
Well, if you do watch it, we'd appreciate it if you'd come back to one of our channels and leave a comment and let us know. Thank you for letting us watch it, or getting us to watch it, or that movie sucked, or something. Just give us your feedback. I'd really like to read what you guys post, and I'd appreciate it if you guys would do that. Thank you.
That'd be great. So for those of you that also understand, we do this as a weekly show. Sometimes Bear is here, sometimes Bear has other things going on, and we respect his schedule. But I thank you, Bear, for being part of today's show, because this is something you requested, and this is something that we wanted to make sure we had the ability to bring you in and talk about it, because you're a sage about this film. Thank you.
Oh, I am a fanatic in the definition, fan in the definition fanatic of this film, 100%. Yes.
Well, I loved it. It was good.
Nothing in life would have made me happier growing up than to be a Hong Kong Cavalier. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I could definitely do that.
So was that Janet?
Would you wear that coat?
Well, I'm not perfect. I'm not like perfect Tommy.
You're not perfect, but you would be perfect if you wore that coat.
I'd have my own look. Every Hong Kong Cavalier had his own look.
I like that coat. I liked all his clothes. Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with him wearing the coat, or with wearing one of those wonderful 80s wonderful hang glider lapels coats. I mean, that thing is amazing.
Skinny tie, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
So, for those of you who like watching our show, next week we're taking a look at the movie Waterworld with Kevin Costner and a whole host of other well-known 90s actors and actresses, and the worst absolute production hell that has been recorded in modern cinema. I still don't believe that there's been another movie that's had so much bad luck as Waterworld.
Well, didn't his other movie, didn't it have a lot of problems? The one where he was like
The Postman?
Yeah, The Postman. That was
Love that movie.
Yeah, but didn't it have a lot of production problems too?
That one did have production problems. I think a lot of those were things that Kevin is kind of responsible for. No offense.
Yeah, because he had problems with Yellowstone and a couple other ones. So I was going to say, I think he's a little problem.
He really just needs to win the lottery and make his own fucking studio, because he has one of those personality types that, unfortunately, he's a terrier in the movie world. He's not the German Shepherd he believes he is. So.
Yeah.
I do like Kevin Costner's work. I don't know him personally, so I'm not going to give any statements, and anything he might say about politics, I don't really give a shit about, because I want to watch his films. I don't want to worry about what he says about politics generally. But
I want to ask Bear a question. Bear, have you seen Mr. Brooks?
No.
That's a movie you should watch if you like Kevin Costner.
I don't like Kevin Costner.
Okay, well, this was the one movie that I absolutely liked Kevin Costner in.
I like Kevin Costner in 3 movies. I like him in Silverado. Mm-hmm. I like him in The Postman, and I think his best performance is The Big Chill.
Wow.
The Big Chill?
Yeah, where he plays the body in the coffin.
Yes.
Trailer. Just watch the trailer and see what you think about it. It's very, very intriguing.
Okay.
Just do that. Tell me you thought it sucked or whatever. But yeah,
yes,
I thought it was a really good movie. I appreciate it. Just what you thought about it.
Yes, ma'am.
She made me watch it. There's some characters that are in the movie that are actually very enjoyable to see work.
It's the story that I like.
The story is pretty okay, but I like the supporting cast performances quite a bit. I don't go off the deep end on Mr. Brooks like I go off on the deep end of criticizing a fucking movie like Bachelor Party 1984 with Tom Hanks. You want to see?
You like that movie?
I cannot stand that movie.
I've never seen it.
I had a mad crush on Tawny Katane, so I was good with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did.
I was not part of that crowd. When she cheated on David Coverdale, I'm like, serves you right.
Yeah, because clearly David Coverdale never cheated on her
ever. But my problem with David Coverdale was, like, after his debut album came out and he was not being compared to like Stairway to Heaven, he made a complaint about that on public radio down in our neck of the woods. And he was like, I see more kids wearing Led Zeppelin t-shirts at our concerts than I see people wearing Whitesnake t-shirts at our concerts. He got kind of butthurt about it. And I'm like,
Is that the same girl that was in that movie?
Tawny Katane was
Oh,
dating
that
Whitesnakes.
from that commercial or from that music video?
Yeah.
Where she's
Oh,
dancing
well,
and
see,
flips on the hood
I
of the
didn't
car.
realize it was the same girl in that, but
Yeah.
she is really pretty.
She's crazy as a fucking shithouse rat. And if you read the
Most
story of
women
her
like
life,
that.
it's like she was insane. This woman, she was not well adjusted, but she was gorgeous.
Think of like the 80s version of Amber Heard.
Yeah.
She's
the crazy hot Matrix extreme.
Hey, Winter Willow.
Hey, Winterillo, what's up?
God.
Tree Rock's like, I'd rather watch Splash. I think Splash is on our list.
It is. I like Splash.
It's my favorite Ron
And
Howard
Kill
film.
Bill, I wanted to put that on the list too, and you were like, "Arr." So
Which one?
It's Kill Bill.
Bill.
You have to do that in two separate parts, just like the movie's released.
I want to do a movie, either any movie. It's got to have a geisha, and I got a whole geisha outfit, and I want to wear it. So it's got to be, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons, or something. We're gonna do one of those movies so I can wear a geisha outfit.
Geishas are Japanese. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was Chinese.
I don't care. If they're wearing kimonos. They're wearing kimonos.
We're gonna cause World War III with Janet on
They're
here.
wearing kimonos, and that's what I have. I don't have to have the white face.
Shogun.
About the outfit.
Black Rain, Showdown in Little Tokyo. There's a ton of
Oh
Oh
movies.
my
we can
god, Put
watch.
on Little Tokyo would be such a
One.
good review. God, I love that movie.
Which one?
Showdown in Little Tokyo. Brandon Lee and
Brendan
Dolph
Lee
Lundgren.
and Dolph Lundgren. It's an amazing film. We're going to go back. We're going to go kick their asses, and then we're going to go back inside and eat sushi off some naked chicks. Like, fuck, that movie's so good.
I haven't seen it. I'll have
That
to watch
movie
it.
is so 80s.
But I love martial arts movies. So
Janet, I think I showed a little part of that movie last night. Yeah, I did.
was it after I left?
No.
Oh well,
No.
I was pretty much falling asleep. I couldn't hardly keep my eyes open last night after that because I got up at 4:30 in the morning. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning almost, wasn't it? Or 12 midnight?
Just about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was really tired.
That movie is just so good. The best
If
part.
you like martial arts,
Do you like movies about gladiators?
Janet, you should watch Crippled Masters.
I'm sure I'll love it.
In case we get
watch
killed, I wanted to tell you, you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Yeah, you should. And I said I thought it was fake. I said, is that a meme? And
Nope.
you said no. And I said, because
32
men don't
flavors of Nick Weiser
compliment
uses that
men on their
all the time.
penises.
Nick Weiser uses that like the Oxford comma whenever.
Is it from the movie for real or is it fake?
That's real. That's a real
Oh.
part of the movie. That was in the script.
I have had
That is quality
lots
dialogue.
of guy friends, and I took shop, and I did all this stuff, and I've never heard another guy compliment another guy on his dick. Not once.
You know, Janet, in the oil field, what we used to do, we used to all grab each other around the shoulders. Let me change my camera angle here real quick.
Oh my
whenever-
God. What are you going to show me?
We would all grab each other around the shoulders. We would stand in a circle,
Oh,
and one of our friends would bring the phone up like that, and we'd have our dorks hanging out. And if just to show our wives we weren't fucking anybody, we would send that photo back because we were gone for 2 weeks at a time, and we would send that photo out there. And wives and girlfriends like, I'm not fucking anybody, honey. I'm just hanging out with my friends here at the oil field. And you have all these like guys with their fucking onesies all bunched around their ankles, and their dorks are there, kind of flaccid. Well, maybe one guy might want to do like a spill take where he like, come on, that's not big enough. Get the
Good.
blood flow going. And you do that, but that was just a cultural
I've
thing.
never seen anything like that in my lifetime.
It just happens. Hi, Winter. Yes, I have a
That's
body
right.
and
You
I
were in
have
the
a
Navy.
face.
I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, yay.
Oh, it's so
But-
funny.
No. That's just something that like we would always get accused of cheating on our ladies. Like, no, I'm at this site for 14 hours, hon.
I
Okay.
like Ryan Gosling. He was the one that was in that movie. The one that I got you to watch about
The
no,
Notebook.
the one about the doll, the real girl.
Lars and the real girl.
Yeah, Lars and the real girl. It was good.
Like it normalizes mental illness, but anyway.
Yeah, it's about mental illness. It's not about somebody wanting to be with a doll because it just wasn't.
Yes.
It's good.
Bruce has a body and a face, but he has no legs.
No legs at all, and no ass. So stop by next week if you want to watch the reaction video to seeing Waterworld 30 years later, which that hurts me to say because I can still remember being in the theater watching that with the Ravenloft box set for second ed D&D in my hands. And yeah, come by and check us out. That's a movie that Janet, I believe, wanted to put on the list.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see you all next week. And thank you for being here today with us. Bear, thank you so much for being part of this channel's production. Janet and Joshua, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here repeatedly.
Thank you.
We're
Be
all
excellent to each other, folks.
Ah, gay.
Hey!
Well, that's okay.